What did you guys make yesterday? Stugotz, this one caught me off guard, and I couldn't figure out what angle it was coming from, but I assume that people listening would know. LeBron James was asked about coming up, if he had any thoughts on coming up on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record, and if he had any relationship with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And his response was, no thoughts and no relationship. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a historic Laker, more ties to the organization than LeBron has, and is a civil rights activist, but is also somebody who has been a scold. He's an opinion columnist, and he recently, for example, said of Kyrie Irving that he was making it bad for all athletes because he was making it look dumb jock of Kyrie Irving, that all athletes were dumb jocks. Did you guys read anything about what's happening there? Because LeBron usually pays respect to the game's greats. LeBron, when it comes to Michael Jordan, holds him with great reverence. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the scoring leader in that sport and not often mentioned as the greatest basketball player ever, as people argue about LeBron and Michael Jordan, but he is royalty of the highest order in that sport. And I was surprised.
In that city.
I was surprised to see LeBron do that, and I don't know what the history of it is.
I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been critical of certain things LeBron said during like the bubble and about the COVID vaccine and stuff like that, and he publicly disagreed with him. So I don't know if that's it, and there's just not like a friendship there, and LeBron doesn't want to be called out about those things, or there might be something deeper. It might be what you mentioned. I'm not really sure, but I do know that like there has been certain things that he's been critical of.
Kobe had a great relationship with Kareem, but it's a bit different. Kobe's was a Laker for life, right? And so
Kobe also has had a good relationship with LeBron.
Yes.
and Magic too. LeBron respects Laker history. The idea, we were just talking about what Aaron Judge's thing will feel like when you're and you get to trot out Roger Maris's family as an heirloom, as a mascot, as a tribute to your game's past. If LeBron were to manage to break that record, Stugotz,
a massive record, man.
Of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's, and the torch could be handed over in a way that would feel like it would have the grace of Bill Russell's death, where you knew that LeBron would pay respect there. It struck me as odd. The coldness of no thoughts and no relationship made me sad. Like, oh no, man, you guys could do such a cool thing together here as like real basketball icons during different times when it was, it was harder to be you than anybody could possibly understand. You guys could have a real and substantive relationship between substantive men who've been through shit, who have commonalities like no one else in the world would have. No thoughts, no relationship.
Maybe after LeBron retires, like there may be some more common ground between them. Like I know Kareem said something about like things that LeBron has done being beneath him, and so he apologized for that earlier this year. And so, I mean, again, like that, it might just be part of this like public coolness towards each other. But they're both. Obviously, there's a tremendous age difference. They're both kind of played through different eras. I can see why they might not see eye to eye on things, and if that's the case, I don't think, it's a shame that everyone doesn't just get along all the time, but maybe in a few years with the hindsight of his career behind him, they would kind of become friends.
It's not a guy that LeBron grew up watching or idolizing. It was Michael Jordan for his generation.
But LeBron has immense respect for the legends of the game.
I know, but it works both ways though. LeBron wants to be respected as well.
Correct.
Yes.
I think that's what's at play here is that there's been public criticism. I don't think there's too much that passes the LeBron camp by. And so I think whenever Kareem has come out and criticized him, that it's been documented. That is one that LeBron has taken on board, and he probably just doesn't like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the things that he said about him.
Yeah, and Kareem's like very opinionated and says what's on his mind, and he did apologize for that. But like you said, Dan, he also criticized Kyrie Irving, who's friends with LeBron James, and so all of those things LeBron probably wouldn't be as apt to like praise him in an interview and talk about what a legend he is if he's just had all of these public.
My
displays
larger
of him.
point, Stugotz, because you're talking about two human beings who have lived public lives that have accrued a lot of wisdom from being the person people gawked at from high school on, whether you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or LeBron James. Very few athletes ever have had such similar paths. And they've learned some things. And to the degree that you can learn from your elders, we've now watched LeBron long enough to see him try and stay 20 years in as dad in the league, dad headed toward ownership, and to treat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as grandpa and scold, Grandpa Laker scolding when both of you are kings.
Right.
Both of you ruled. Both of you, that sport, you were at the top of it, and how could you two not respect each other? You're the best of the best.
I mean, let's be honest with Kareem. It doesn't seem like he's the easiest person to get along with, right? Like, it just doesn't. Like, I'm not certain LeBron wants to spend any time with that, you know?
Does LeBron seem like the easiest person to get along with?
Not at all. But if you're LeBron, you want to hang out with a guy who's not, difficult to get along with, who's 40 years older than you?
Some people just don't like each other.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Like, some people just don't like each other.
People are complicated. Like they have multitudes. They're of very different generations. Yes, they have experienced similar successes on the basketball court, but they might not have a lot in common, actually. And if one is criticizing the other or they're both criticizing each other publicly, I don't expect them to get along.
I was trying to track down the history because I was just trying to wonder if what happened early. I believe it was earlier this year where he criticized LeBron for two things. One, kind of being wishy-washy about the vaccine, and the second was I believe LeBron did the Sam Cassell big testicles dance. And that the NBA is fining for that, and Kareem basically said, "You're someone who carries yourself in this very high esteem. You shouldn't do things like that." But
it's Grandpa.
That's what I'm saying,
it's
though.
Grandpa scold.
You're a young man. You want to hang out with the guy. You feel like he's always watching you, criticizing your every move. That's not the way we did it. I mean, get over yourself, old man.
Are you saying LeBron's young?
I mean, he's younger than Kareem. I mean,
he's younger than you.
Nitpicking at everything. I mean, the way you talk, the way you chew, what you order for lunch. I mean,
Got that right.
His order. He just pops up behind LeBron. Hey, I wouldn't have gone provolone there. What you order for lunch? You just needed 3 things? You just...
Is it possible that maybe Kareem doesn't actually believe most of what he's been saying for the past 10 years, and he just saw this moment coming, so it was like a long play thing with LeBron, where it's like, let me discredit him at every turn possible, so that by the time he gets to the point where he's going to break my record, no one will respect him anymore? Is that possible?
LeBron was still on the Cavs the first time.
Yeah, once he saw him in high school.
This
dates back to him in Miami. If
we're
gonna have a go at him.
Well, I think before high school, I think he saw him coming and he's like, this guy could be a threat to me one day. Let me get out ahead of this. He could be beloved. Let me discredit absolutely everything he could do. Yeah.
All perceived threats.
I'm telling you, we're going to hear about the Hummer again real soon from old Kareem.
But to answer your question, though, Billy, the answer to that is no. Because if you go back to 3 years ago, I'm looking at quotes from Kareem in an article he wrote for Newsweek, and he talks about LeBron in these glowing terms. LeBron's sheer athleticism motivates young players to reach for a high standard of physical preparedness as a basketball player. Then he talks about how LeBron has shed the dumb jock stereotype by saying, to laud anyone as a cultural hero, that person would also have to embody as well as promote some of the core values of that culture. LeBron has done that through his outspoken political and social advocacy, especially in support of racial equality. This was demonstrated when Fox News' Laura Ingraham famously reacted to an ESPN interview with LeBron in which he discussed, among many other topics, politics, by saying, shut up and dribble. And instead of just engaging in a social media war, he turned her lame insult into a 3-part documentary series for Showtime. He has these incredibly positive things to say about LeBron at various points in his career. It seems as though the most recent one has turned LeBron off.
Just so we're clear, you're saying no to a 10-year-long con by Kareem to discredit LeBron?
That's correct.
I mean, you really fought back on that.
Brought some sources, too, and cited all of them.